to watch. But you want to know something? He is now in heaven with the mama, so I'm not going to get too bad today because it's just been a heck of a week, hasn't it, hon? It's just been a week. But we are good, and I am so happy to be here with you all. You know, when you feel sad, you don't want to. Well, some people want to be alone. I don't mind being alone when I feel sad, but I feel better to be here with all of you for this week that we just went through. And I know a lot of people are going through this out there because I see it on Facebook every day that people lose their pets. And, you know, it's a hard time because look at tell me a human being that's going to love you like a dog does. I'm serious. It's just, or a cat or any animal, you know what I mean? It is truly unconditional love, which I'm not sure that human beings can do. I mean, it's incredible.
True.
You know, and so he just looks so beautiful. But the last one of him running up to you at the gate, that just slayed me, I have to say. That one was, your mom asked you to do something. She said, take care of Dwight, right?
Yeah, it was most some of
the
the last
that
words.
was her last words, basically.
Yeah, she was more concerned about that than anything else.
Right, and so I just want to say you did an amazing job of that.
Well, he was easy to look after.
Wasn't he?
He was a character. I mean, there was
he
some
was a character.
Some of the craziest behavior I've ever seen in a dog ever goes to him. He wins the award.
He used to stand at the bottom of the bed. He would jump off to get something to eat or drink in the middle of the night. And then for some reason, when he was perfectly able to jump back up on the bed with the little ottoman that we had there, he would stand there and bark until we woke up.
Until we yelled loud enough.
And you would say, Dwight, because he couldn't hear very well, and he would jump up on the bed. But it was, we both thought that was really odd. You know,
well, and then now and so of course Archie heard that night after night after night, so now he does it.
All he does is yell, Dwight! Our parrot, he yells, Dwight, all the time. So, but you know what? He yells yippee for your baby that we had for a long time, and he talks in Carrie's voice, Debbie's voice. He keeps everybody alive. I'm telling you, that parrot's amazing.
That is very true.
Yeah. Happy Sunday, everybody. We are so happy to be here with you. We're not going to have a super long show. We're going to have a super sweet show with celebrating Debbie's what would have been her 90th birthday. What would she have been like on her 90th birthday?
Well, obviously, I could, the obvious answer is she really didn't change that much. But the truth is, in the very end, she did. So, there were definitely some different changes. But I thought what I would do was share some footage that I have that I think is the only footage like this on the earth. It's behind the scenes. It's early video footage shot at my mother's 50th.
60th.
50th.
This is her 50th birthday?
50th. Grandma's 70. They're sharing a birthday here.
Yeah.
It's my grandmother's 70th, my mother's 50th birthday, and for whatever reason they did it together. The video quality, of course, is that of 1982.
Yeah.
So it's a home video camera, and you're going to see a lot of streaks, what they used to call cometailing, where the Atacon tube would pick up light and it would streak. But what's being said is very unusual, and you're going to see her with her guard down. But you'll hear what she had to say for herself at her 50th birthday, which
right.
I don't think much would have changed. And I'm going to skip around on it. It's obviously long, but there's a piece in here beyond my mother talking that also has my grandfather. We've been talking a lot about my grandfather in prior shows and how important he was.
Let's check on volume right now because I'm seeing a few people talking about how low the volume has been.
The volume?
Yes. So let's make sure it's okay. Ryan, can you let me know? I'm seeing lots of... let's see. It might be better now. I don't know. I just don't want anyone to miss anything.
Well, which volume was low?
I'm not sure. Let me see if Ryan is texting me at all. Not yet. Oh, he said it's okay. All right, so we're good. Hi, Tammy Anastasia, Susan Klinowski, Terry Dixon, Paula Mickle. Yes, thank you. Hi, Debbie Benno. It's nice to see you here. This is a new name for me. Debbie Saunders Lewis. Hello. Nikki Grandcamp and Luke Neary. Gina Glassarina Ryan. Patty Hughes, it's so good to see Catherine Furman, Geraldine Coviello. Yes, she was right. She said Dwight received more love than most humans. And that is true.
Well, and my mother made sure of that.
Yes.
It was, it's true. He was.
They said my volume is lower than the other. Hello, Ferruccio.
Not
Okay.
according to my
Seth
stuff
says
here.
the sound is great. Sue says better now. It's
I haven't
fine.
done anything.
Oh,
so.
the video was low.
The video. Well, the video just had little background music. It didn't have any sound.
No, it had beautiful. It had music to
But
it. It was just
it was
low.
low. It was just recorded intentionally low.
So Ryan said we're good, and Ferruccio says he can hear us both just fine.
All right. Well, here comes
All
Debbie. You asked the question, what would Debbie say at her birthday today? I say she would have said something probably similar to what she said 40 years earlier.
Okay.
This is my mother. She doesn't mind. She reminded me how I'm 50 and my mother's 70. And the reason the party is happening tonight is that my mother said to me, sitting very one night we were talking, and my mother doesn't drink, but I fortunately do. She said, I've never had a birthday party. This is my mother's first big birthday.
Do you need Aspen to do anything?
And through the years,
I'm busy.
we've had a few financial moments, ups and downs, and Mother said, well, we can't afford that. I said, we can't afford not to have the party, because this is our time. We have my daddy, my special daddy, Mr. Raymond Francis Reynolds. My name is Mary Francis, and I'm named after my daddy. And I hope I'm like my daddy. The only thing I don't want to do that my daddy has done is raise a beard. It's enough already that I'm as stubborn as he is. He's a wonderful, magical father. I've been very, very lucky to have two of the most wonderful parents that anybody could ever have in their whole life. And that's my mama and daddy. That's Maxine Harmon. Then she married my daddy, and then she got Reynolds. Now, I'm going to tell you, as soon as I could, after my wonderful marriage, God, I always seem to cough. They say you get these little problems. That I insisted that my name was back to be Reynolds. When Jack Warner wanted me to change my first name from Mary Frances to Debbie, I didn't like it, but he wanted me to be Debbie Morgan after Dennis Morgan because he thought that'd be a wonderful name. I said, what is your name? What was your father's name? Might have been Warnerstein, but nevertheless he kept part of it. I said, well, my father's name is Reynolds, and I'm a Reynolds, and I'm staying a Reynolds. He says, you'll know what I'm telling you? It's okay, you're Reynolds. So I became Debbie Reynolds, but I kept the Reynolds because that's my daddy's name and my mother's name. I love them to distraction. I'm a very lucky girl, and I love you, Mama. I love you, Daddy. Not to ignore my brother, William, who has put up with me for years, and he's always pretended that he was younger than me. So I would like to toast my brother. He's full of shit. He's older than me. My brother is a year and a half older than me. Here's to Uncle Bill. My dearest brother ever in the world. And I love my brother, and I'm very lucky to have him. And now, luckily, we both had wonderful marriages, and he's now back with me. And only thing we're not doing now is wearing diapers. But we're together again, and it's very nice that we have each other. Meshuggah, in our older age, it's neat. But Uncle Billy, I am younger and brig you. Okay? Now, Debbie, sit down and enjoy what a few thousand people would like to say. And I know that the
I want to grab Maxine before he decides to leave. The next R.
Okay, before my daddy's friends are unable to continue, I would like, first of all, I think it's wonderful that my daddy is still standing. And that daddy doesn't drink. I mean, this is very hard for my father, who's 78 years old.
I'm going to leave us on
This
simultaneously.
man
I'm
is
leaving
a
our
very
mics on.
special man. He's so full of shit that it's just wonderful.
It's the only footage of him
And
around.
he's-
I'm not aware of any footage of him talking.
My daddy has always adored his daughter because I was the only girl. I mean, there were so many boys, but I was the only girl. So this is my daddy, who's the best guy ever. And I don't know where Hazel is. Hazel go to the bathroom? Just a minute, just a minute. Now, there are friends of my daddy has friends here that are from the railroad, and even the railroad is gone. So we would like to, I'd like Daddy to say a couple of words because he might have to leave in a minute. Now, what do you think, Pops? You want to say something about Mama? You want to say something about your mama? You know, your wife, and you know. This is my dad.
Well, this will be a surprise, but
Wow.
this girl over here chased me for 2 years before
Before I caught her.
Aww.
You don't stand here and tell me what to say.
I was trying to tell my daddy what to say, and he just said to me, "Don't you tell me what to say."
Exactly.
No, you say what you want.
Well, I don't want to say anything.
Sing happy birthday!
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jerry. Happy birthday to you.
Okay, that was Daddy, who always sang beautifully. My daddy always had a beautiful voice and still does. I love him. He's a wonderful man. And I'm really fascinated that he's still up.
I have
Mother
never,
never got up, but,
I have never heard your
yeah, because that's my
grandfather
brother and
speak,
me.
or even barely seen pictures of
Oh,
him.
well, it just happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's extremely rare to see him on camera. I'm not aware of any other footage of him saying any words on camera.
Well, because he was such a quiet man, and he didn't like being in the spotlight whatsoever.
His favorite thing to do when my grandmother and mother were talking and doing like what's going on in this, although he's being very polite here, it was if this would have been a smaller event and they were talking like this, at a certain point after what he considered to be a reasonable amount of time, he would go, yak, 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 yak.
Actually,
yak, yak,
your
yak.
sister put that in the script.
She
of,
did. That's what she remembers.
Which postcard
Postcards
from the
from the
edge?
Edge.
Yeah, because I remember the scene in the hospital, and he was saying yak, 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 yak. So that was something he really did.
Yeah, it's very unusual, as I say, to have anything of him talking, much less singing. But you know, he was a man of few words. I mean, and he didn't. What I thought was genius. I hope it came out. I hope you heard it okay. But my mother's like whispering in his ear, like, what he might want to say. And even at that age, he's in his 80s. He's like, "Hey, woman, I can figure it out myself."
Did he come up with that joke by himself? Do you think about your grandmother
Chased me
chasing him for
2 weeks
years?
till I caught her?
2 years.
2 years till I caught her.
Yeah.
It is a good joke. It's not true though, because they were married at like crazy young.
But it was a good joke.
It's a great joke, and he knew how to tell it.
Right, and I was wondering if your mom whispered that joke to
No,
him.
no. That was his joke. I remember that was one of his that he, for whatever reason, he picked up. But the truth is, my grandmother and he were married very young, like 15, 16 kind of, I'm just like, I mean,
Wow.
okay, so think about it here. Here's a good way to look at this. My grandmother was 20
Yes. When Debbie
when
was
Debbie
born.
was born.
And Uncle
And
Bill
Uncle
was
Bill was born
before
several years
that.
earlier.
Actually, she said it was like a year or two.
No.
No?
More than a year or two.
I miss Uncle Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see him, and he does a little rap coming up here in a second, too, and it's
Yeah.
unusual to hear.
Well, it's just kind of nice to see. I always I've never seen any of this footage before, so I'm seeing it for the first time with all of you. And I love seeing people in their natural habitat, as we say. It's very fun because this is just something you'd never see anywhere. So I love.
Yeah, well,
I love
like
this.
I'll show you something kind of unusual because even for me, it's early footage of me talking.
Oh, I've got to see that.
Yeah, so there I am.
There you are.
I'll back up here. Let's see.
Aw, was Carrie there?
Yeah,
It's a long story, yeah.
Let's see here.
Yeah.
All this time. Thank you. Oh, what a blessing to have a gift of words. Where is your Mr. Moonjean? Where is Hank? Where are you, Hank? With Rudy. There you are, you.
Is that Ruta Lee talking?
Yes, of
I
course.
know her
Right over your
voice so
shoulder
well.
the whole time, and didn't even know. Here's
Are we
sweet.
going to get to the?
I first met
Yeah, I skipped. There we go.
There you go. You're going a little far.
Yeah. I was on a little voyage in her stomach, and just kind of hanging out. I knew her a lot better then. It was a very close relationship, about as close as you can get. Anyway, I have to say that you couldn't have a better mother. I remember the one line that always used to get me was the press used to come over to me and they'd say, "So how is it to have a mother like Debbie Reynolds? I mean, it's got to be something fantastic." I said, "Well, I don't know. She's just a good mother. Did you have a good mother? And that's all it is. She's a very good mother. I love her very much, and I also love my grandparents a lot too. My grandmother is wild.
Yeah, that's right.
She comes up. She's possibly the master of the one-liners. Nobody today has beaten her. I have to say this one thing because this does work. We're at the dining room table at the Greenway House years and years ago, and this girl had come back from London with me. This was like one of the earlier girlfriends I had. And we're sitting at the table, and the whole family is there, and my mother had a boyfriend at the time. He was sitting there, and the line he says, "Well, Todd doesn't like girls, right? Like joking, right?" And my grandmother says, "No, you're right. He likes hookers."
Oh, I remember.
So, a one-liner, So, there was a lot of food that got spit up on the table and things like that. And I was a little stunned. It was a very deadening kind of a line, actually. But it was a hush fell over the crowd. Even though it's my grandfather's birthday, I really like my grandfather because he's the quiet man in the group. And he originated this, which
There
means
goes.
that all the women are always talking. Yak, 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 yak. And so that was one of the best things that he did. And as we just said, I was an ankle biter for him. I used to walk around dragging on his heels and stuff like that. Didn't have too much time for my grandmother because she always used to tell me to tie my shoes and stuff like that. So it's sort of a drag, You didn't want to know her too much. But, she kept busy with the other crowd. Anyway, I'm glad to be here, and I really love you all.
There you go.
Thank you, sweetie Todd.
So there's Todd early on.
Now, what year was this
That's
about?
this is 1982.
So this
I'm
is the-
24.
Okay, so are you still married in that?
I don't. Yeah, I would have been married during that time probably.
I think this is about the time I saw
Well,
you
this is
across
pre-hiding
the
place.
church.
This is just before the hiding place.
No, the hiding place came before 1982.
I think it was right at 82.
Yeah, I think as I remember.
But all of this is eight. Don't forget, this would have been around April of 82.
Yeah.
It's just an interest. It's an interest. Look, it's.
Oh, I
it's-
lived in New York then.
But it's interesting to see, the different things that are going on.
Yes.
Here's my grandmother, and my mom again. We want to see is that my grandmother? I don't think that is my grandmother.
Looks like your grandmother.
No, I don't think it is. We can see. Let's see
Yes.
real quick here if that is. But
in my brother's life. And often my mother thought that it was their failure. It wasn't, of course, at all. And not at all. They gave us the best. The fact that we didn't find a personal happiness, we did find it because we have all of you. And isn't that joyous? And what a joyous night this is. To be here together, that you all paid us such great tribute and homage to come here, to be with my mother, who is the best lady in the world, and my daddy, who is the best daddy in the world. I'm very lucky, and my brother and I say thank you all for coming. My brother's a very quiet man. My father is a quiet man. My brother always says everybody's a turkey. And my brother stands, as you see him now, behind my father. They are a great deal alike. They are wonderful men. They are the solid people. They are the quiet people. And those of us that love them to die, to love them to destruction, understand what they are. My mother and I are the big mouths. But by being the big mouths, we've also made many things happen. And I'm very grateful to have all of you here tonight. You all mean my heart. You mean my life. You mean my mother's life. And so we're really happy that this is a special night. Right, Mama? Do you want to say something? No, I say, Mother, you pay the friggin' check and cooler.
Before the birthday cake arrives, ladies and
That was pretty interesting. You know, it's just interesting to hear her thoughts about her parents, you know, how she felt about them.
Yep.
And I mean, you kind of teed this up when you asked the question, you know, what would she say if she was, you know.
Yeah, I just remember her. She used to
There
make
she
a lot
is.
of jokes.
But that's being very real. This is not a movie star right
No,
there.
no,
She's
no.
being
But she
very
used to
real.
make a lot of jokes about how much fun it was getting older because things creaked and hurt, and you know, and she also said a few times that if she couldn't perform, she didn't really know why she would still be here. You know, she really
Well, before
lived
all
up
that
there.
dialogue, though, she also used to say, you know, I'm just going to perform until I drop dead on stage, and they're going to stuff
Stuff
me
her
and
like Trigger.
You know, that was her.
I remember
that went
that.
on for 30 years.
Yes.
And I think that was probably more to the truth, because that was truly what she loved to do. That little monologue at the end there is very, you know, deep, you know, and she's being very sincere there. I mean, these are not people around her that she's going to bullshit. There's nobody from the press. There's nobody there. I mean, this is just straight up
Friends.
close friends.
Yeah.
So you're seeing her being very real. And, you know, she's not blowing smoke. She wants these, you know, she's paying tribute to her parents. My grandfather only lived another year after that.
Yeah.
So, you know, she knows that's coming to an end. You know, with him. My grandmother lived about like 6 more years.
Yeah.
You know, or more. No. Oh, yeah. She lived into her 80s, so yeah, way more than that. You know.
So your grandfather died kind of at a young age.
Well, he was 10 years older than my grandfather. He was 80 at that point. He
Oh,
was 80
okay.
something. They were, you know, as he says, he was an older guy going after this young girl.
Right.
You know, and that's the way and it was done like that in those days. No, 10 years wasn't really considered some massive amount of, you know, time in those days.
Right.
You know, it was sort of age appropriate, I guess, was within that realm. My mom married Harry Carl, and he was 20 years older. You know, that was considered a bit inappropriate.
Well, 20 years is quite a distance. I mean, you know, it depends on the two people, of course. But it is a good amount of time.
It is.
Yeah. I have a friend who dated somebody younger, and he said he knew that it wasn't going to work when she didn't know who the Beatles were.
Well, I always think music and cultural things are going to become an issue at some point.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could ignore it, I suspect. You could say, oh, so you don't know anything about this part of history. You know, it's never been my thing. You know, I never, that's why I just.
You never dated anybody younger than you, right?
No, never.
But you're married to somebody older
Way
than
older.
you.
Much
I am
older.
the cougar of this relationship.
You are, and I chose you because you know knew all the right music and plays.
Yeah.
And what you didn't know, I was able to teach you very easily about the old movies and stuff.
You know what's funny? I have become a classic film buff because of you.
But you were already one of the all-time great experts at naming contemporary
Actors.
talent.
Yeah, but now I can name not only contemporary. Well, I'm not so good at contemporary talent now because we don't have a lot of new stars. You know, like the business changed a lot over the 20, 30 years, where we have a lot of people that are famous for nothing, or a reality show. I mean, we had heroes growing up.
Well, I'm not. I can't. I'm not aware. Let's just leave it that there are the stars of yesterday.
Yeah.
My mother's era and before, and even a little after. I don't see a lot of that today. There are certainly some very talented people in the world. Some of them have gotten their due.
Yeah.
Others are undiscovered. And then you have a lot of very untalented people becoming famous. People that I think are incredibly untalented.
Acting?
Doing all kinds of things. Having shows and things. I mean, let's. I mean, they're brilliant at marketing and they have other gifts, I suspect. But there are a lot of things on blogs and sites. I hate to name names because I think you know who I'm talking about. They're just people that I wouldn't have the time of day. Somebody said to me a while back, we were at up at Telluride, in fact, and somebody had the movie La La Land had been nominated at the festival.
Neither one of us liked that movie.
Well, it's not that I didn't like it.
Okay, let me
strong.
just put it. Okay, we didn't care for that style of musical because we were so spoiled by the classics.
No, I mean,
at least that's how I felt.
Well, when they asked me, I was asked, how did I like it? I said, I thought it was very cute. And, it was fun to see a musical. And I tried to be nice about it. And then they took it too far. They said, it was reminded me a lot of Singing in the Rain. I went, whoa, hold everything.
Right.
I mean, that is a serious injustice to the films of Singing in the Rain. I mean, and the talent.
Then The Greatest Showman came along, and you and I both
I think it's fantastic.
absolutely loved that.
Well, I think
because it made you feel, so many things, and that's what the point of musicals are. When the spoken word will no longer carry the theme of the moment, then people would break out in song.
Well,
I love that.
It was an art form that we accepted. We suspended reality to accept it, because who really is going to look in somebody's face and bust out into song except me?
And you do that.
Yes.
You bust out in song in my face all the time.
Well, and things that I hear remind me of music. Lots of things. So during the course of a day, I could find 50 songs to quote, or start singing that remind me of the moment. But at any rate, Singing the Rain and the stars of those days, I don't see too many of those people running around. I mean, let's take West Side Story. We watched it the other night. I mean, it was well done. Very talented people. There's some beautiful moments. Of course, the music is unbelievably spectacular and all that. But in my opinion, the original West Side Story did not need to be redone.
Oh, no. And I think that there's a lot of musicals. That would be like trying to redo The Wizard of Oz.
Well, they do it, though. And
I know,
but
for me, watching the new West Side Story, it was missing the grit of the original.
Well,
I mean,
you remember, what did I say when it was going on? I said it's too polished.
Yeah.
So
and
so
that's
the
probably what I
choreography
mean.
was very raw in the original, and it got very polished in this one. And it looked less like a bunch of street people getting together and jamming.
Right.
Than,
there you go. That's exactly right.
So, I mean, and I'm not going to, look, had I been sitting on the set, and if somebody ever asked me to consult on a movie like that, I certainly would have brought that up, but I also probably would have said, why are we redoing this movie? The original is so brilliant.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And come on, I mean, Natalie Wood and
oh yeah,
I
wouldn't
you just
even
can't you can't
if
come
you
close to
and
this.
to ask somebody to play in the shadow of that is no easy task. So you got to give that girl a lot of points.
Oh, everybody's voice was beautiful. It didn't have anything to do with people's talent at all. It was really just about, you can't help but compare a classic to a remake, and side by side, it's just
Well,
and
Unless
also,
you never saw the other one. Which, by the way, sometimes the justification for remaking these movies is a whole another generation of people will watch this that wouldn't have watched the other one. That's a good justification. Okay, I'm not gonna discount that to zero.
Correct.
It loses me, but there is a truth to that. I remember back in the day when we were colorizing black and white movies, and there were a lot of people like Jimmy Stewart and big people who knew Frank Capra, and they were colorizing It's a Wonderful Life or something, and he was up in arms about it, and he was like, you can't do this. This is not the intent of the creators. And that was very true. And in fact, black and white actually implies a very specific set of moods and looks, and there's a lot that goes with it. But the one justification that I did buy into there was another generation of people will watch this movie because it's in color. That was true. That's the only thing true. I didn't approve of it at all, other than the fact that there was truth to that, because there were a lot of people who would say to me, even my own kids growing up were like, oh, not another, oh, it's black and white. Oh, we have to watch a black and white movie. I mean, I had to drum that into them, like some sort of programming from the CIA. I mean, it had to be. You have to program kids to accept a black and white film. The way we were brought up in a world of black and white. I mean, considering television when it came out was not color for 10 years.
Yeah. The other movie that they remade recently that I was disappointed in as well was Nightmare Alley. I mean, the original was with Tyrone Power was amazing. And
and again, who went back to watch the Tyrone Power one? It was
I wonder if people did.
They took a lot of license.
If you
now
saw
they might.
Nightmare Alley and you want to compare them, you need to go to
watch that one.
Watch the original Nightmare Alley because it was fantastic. I mean, really great. Now, again, everybody did a fine acting job. It's just that there's some things you just can't.
Okay, but name
duplicate.
today.
Yeah.
Tell me the stars of today. Just name me a handful.
Okay.
That can stand up to Tyrone Power, Clark Gable, Jimmy Stewart, Gary Cooper.
All right,
Clark,
audience.
I could go on.
You're
Name
up.
a star today
Yes.
that has the same je ne sais quoi
Yes.
that those people had.
Okay.
Is it Will
Geraldine
Smith?
Goviello says
Is it Will
none.
Smith?
No.
Will Smith. No, not Will Smith.
No.
God knows. I mean, think about it. He's a huge star.
Yes.
You could name us. Is it Tom
trying to think
Cruise?
of who.
He can't hold his shit together.
Who?
Tom Cruise.
What do you mean?
There's story after story of the guy is impossible to work with, and I don't mean because he's a pro. He is a pro. He's an extreme pro. Now going back to the days of Top Gun.
Yes.
I mean, there it was,
Yeah.
right? I mean, he had it.
Yeah.
But
Risky Business. He had it.
he was.
I mean, come on.
I'm a huge Tom Cruise fan.
I know.
Lately, some of the stuff that has been going on is not causing me to have as much respect for him as a talent, because when I see people that are super talented, and then I see that they develop something that goes with that,
Like
that
what?
always bothers me. Well, when somebody starts acting like a star and treating others as less. I have my mother as this great shining example of a person that certainly was a star that could have looked down to everybody or treated her fans as less, and I never saw it from her ever. So I have a hard time watching that show.
Okay, so people are saying, for the answer to your question, and I agree with a lot of these, Bradley Cooper, George Clooney, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Hugh Jackman. Those are Charlize Theron, agreed, Lane.
I could name a few. Meryl Streep, even though she's older.
Tom Hanks is definitely a kind of a Gary Cooper type, right? No,
Sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, let me just maybe put it a little differently. And those are all very talented people. And as you know, I'm friends since
Hugh
I was a kid
Jackman.
with George Clooney, who I
Yeah.
think is a class act.
Yeah.
No question. But that is exactly the point, though. We
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner
Yeah,
is great.
Medea and other people
And
said
look-
too.
and look
I
at-
think that Kevin
take-
Costner has it for sure.
And not only does he have it, he actually has a sustaining longevity career that people really will follow him till he's 100.
Yes.
You know, he's got that. He definitely has
I
it.
don't think I've ever seen a movie where I can say he let me down.
But also in his public life, he doesn't go off.
Right.
I think what is the difference in some of these folks is when they go off in their personal lives and let us down. Most of the stars that I mentioned didn't let us down. Now, Tyrone Power was this leading man for decades, and no one even knew he was gay for 30 years.
Who's
Tyrone Power.
I didn't know he was gay. But he had been married and had a daughter, so that's why I didn't put two and two together.
But everybody knew it, but didn't know it. And you couldn't, in those days, you weren't allowed to say it or be it. So they
Yes.
all had these clandestine lives. And they had wives as beards to shield them from the horror of judgment from a population that was living in the Victorian era.
Yeah.
So that was a horror. But I mean, you know, you take, we were just watching him in Giant the other day.
Rock Hudson.
Rock Hudson.
Yeah.
I mean, again, a stellar leading
Oh
man.
my God, I love Rock Hudson,
Charming,
yes.
funny, and a woman. I mean,
Does she have control of the?
Yeah, she's switching.
Oh, she's switching. Hi, Aspen. Aspen came in. Hi, baby girl.
But those, anyway, my point of bringing this, I'm not trying to chop out. There certainly are stars of today. I just feel that we have to. None of those people had a personal life, you know, that was in your face, or some. I can name a couple that did, but the big ones I mentioned didn't. You know, they really had exemplary lives, and so that's important too. If you're a star, you are an example to others. You certainly are an example to children. I mean, when a kid says, "What do you want to grow up to be when you grow up? What do you want to be?" I want to be a fireman or a policeman. Or why do you want to be that? Well, I want to save people, and I respect those people. I mean, this is what's driving this. I want to be president of the United States. You know, whatever it is. Why do you want to be president? Well, that I don't know. But at any rate, because that would be a job that nobody would want these days.
Right.
But the bottom line is that I think that with there's responsibility comes, a lot of responsibility comes with these stardom. And my mother was really brilliant, you know, at playing this balancing act between her personal life, her career, not offending her fans in any way, shape, or form. I don't remember my mother offending anybody. Without yet still having an opinion. I'm not saying you have to be an opinionless person, but somehow would do it in such a fashion that it was non-judgmental and it worked. So I would just, it's not what I see today.
No, but all the actors, mind you, that we have and Lane Semper's come up with a couple of really good ones. She said Forrest Whitaker, and yes, all these actors fall into that category, but they're all our age. So
well, no, but
I mean,
a few
and
there
then-
were younger, and
Bradley Cooper's a little younger.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Matt Damon's a little younger.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
But new.
By the way, when I
people-
challenged you all,
yeah,
it wasn't that I thought I was going to stump you.
yeah,
I was merely trying to say that it did cause you to think, though, didn't it? It
Yeah.
stopped you in your tracks, and you had to think. Well, let me think for a minute. Who is like Gary Cooper? Who has that boyish charm?
right.
Yet that's something special. I mean, who's like Jimmy Stewart? Well, I mean, like that was, he talked like that for real. I mean, there were people. I mean, and the women, the same game goes. I mean, I have a wall upstairs with all these famous ladies that signed autographs to my mom or notes to my mother, personal notes. And there's some class on that wall. The classiest ladies
Oh yes, that
that
wall
ever
is
lived
fantastic.
are on that wall. I mean, those ladies were class. And again, there are a lot of girls today that don't feel that it's necessary to be classy in that way.
Right. I don't know if you want to comment on it, but Janie Hickok Seiss says, I really want to hear what Todd thinks about the Will Smith debacle.
The Will Smith debacle. Well, obviously it wasn't a good move on old Will's. He obviously should not have done that. There's a no-brainer there. He could have given us a message that would have been just as strong, if not stronger. I suspect in the heat of the moment, he felt compelled to protect his wife. In some way, he felt that she was being threatened and he was going to do something about it. And that part of the equation is admirable. But where it is not admirable is where you think you have the right to get up in the middle of a television show and
Not just a television show.
the television
Yes.
show and march down the center aisle and hit somebody
Go up the stairs.
and hit somebody in the face.
Yeah.
I said immediately thereafter, I said what he should have done is just gotten up, walked down to the center, looked him in the eye, and said whatever he wanted to say to him about that. And he and his wife should have walked right out the middle aisle there at that awards center, and he should have walked out and not gotten his Oscar. Now that would have been a message, and we wouldn't be talking about his behavior right now. We would be talking about whether it's appropriate to attack people in such a fashion, how far should comedians go. That really is the conversation.
Well, it's sad because, first of all, this isn't the first time we've seen her with a shaved head. Over the years, we've seen her many, many, many times in all different kinds of, various beautiful stages of her life. She is a beautiful woman. She looks beautiful without
And by the
hair.
way, to be
I never knew she had alopecia.
accused of being similar to G.I. Jane.
I mean,
who
Demi Moore was gorgeous.
Demi Moore.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Demi Moore with a shaved head's the best looking. Well, I'm
She
still
looked
hot.
Yeah, she was gorgeous. So I think it was all about. I miss actually the days of comedy when Don Rickles would get up and just shave everybody down in the audience. If you were famous and you were in the audience,
He could have eaten you alive.
You would have been eaten alive, and everybody, including the celebrity, would laugh about it. I mean, I think the world is
Now there's
oversensitive right now with that, but that's me.
No, you put it to a good point. I think we have seconds before he was laughing at the joke.
And I wouldn't want a man defending me, to be honest. As a woman, I like to take care of my own business. If somebody needs, to be talked to, I would want you to get up and do something.
It depends on the circumstances, but I mean, there's a place where a man would defend a woman, and it's not that. That is definitely not the place. I mean, it's
I don't think
crystal
so.
clear.
Yeah.
Reminds me, you mentioned Don Rickles. If you showed up to a Don Rickles show, you knew that you had a potential to being attacked on some personal level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, racially, ethnically, religiously. I mean, he told more Jew jokes than anybody I ever saw in my life. He was Jewish. I mean, he was brilliant at doing this stuff and hilarious, and we could laugh about it. Now, I don't think today he could be who he was. We don't have any room for that, and that's too bad. So I miss the ability to be able to tell a joke without running the risk of some extreme reaction on the part of an individual or a group, or somebody being canceled because they said, something. Canceled because you have an altering opinion.
Yeah.
So that's on either side of the aisle. I'm not just talking about politics. I'm talking about any subject. I don't know. It just seems I've been around a while. I just don't remember ever in my life the fuse being as short as it is today. The reaction to things being as extreme as they are today, as they were throughout my life.
Yeah.
And just to drive that point home, I did a little reconnoitering in that video we were running earlier as the video panned around the room, and I saw all these different people, and I realized I was the only one alive in that video.
In this video?
So everybody,
You're the only one?
That's it.
No, Ruta Lee is still alive.
Okay, Ruta
and
and
she's very alive.
She's always.
I love
see,
Ruta
Ruta. I'm
Lee.
not sure. I think
She's
Ruta
so
will always.
great.
But that was it. It was.
Yeah.
There was one other person, Margie.
Margie. Yep. And Margie is
150.
younger. No, how old is Margie really?
Margie is late 90s.
Yeah. And it's people are living longer today. I thought your mom passed early. She was 84, and I thought that it was too young.
It definitely was, but she left on her own.
No, she wanted to go.
Recognizance.
There's no doubt. But we were watching Doris Day movies we were watching.
Even today it was on.
And Doris Day lived to be almost 100, I think.
Well-
I mean, she was in her 90s for sure.
We're a huge
At
Doris Day
least.
fan. I love Doris Day.
I am a
I spent my
massive
entire
Doris Day
life,
fan.
by the way, just so you know, with people thinking my mother was Doris Day. I had so many people confusing my mother with Doris Day
Yeah.
all the time. And my mother was really cool about it, too. You know, they would say, oh, I loved you in Pillow Talk or something. My mother would be like, thank you, whatever, you know, or
Sure, what's the harm?
straighten them out.
Yeah.
And, I don't have to straighten them out. That was a big mix-up because they were both very impish and cute and little. They did the
They both
musicals
sang and
yeah,
yeah.
I could see it. I thought she was adorable. The only person I think that is cuter than Doris Day is you.
Oh my goodness, Todd.
It's true.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. All right, now
There's
here's
the camera on her blushing.
Oh, well, it's cat cosmetics, but I am blushing underneath it. I will say that. I love Doris Day, and I remember. Now, here's a question for everybody. If you could have met any classic film star, who would it be? For me, it would have been Doris Day. Because
We
I never-
almost went up there to see her.
And your mom was going to hook us up, and we were going to drive to Carmel, and she had a hotel that she owned that was pet friendly, so we were going to take our pets. And, well, not all of them, but, you know, we were going to take
Yippee
Yippee.
was the key thing.
Yeah. And I don't know what came up that we didn't go, but, oh, I have such regrets about it, because she was a kind of a recluse at the
Yes,
end.
but she
And-
would have seen us because my mother and her had this sort of interesting, friendly relationship
Yeah.
without being like, hey, let's double date. You know, they had an interesting relationship.
I just really regret that we did not make that trip, and I think something came up and we didn't go, and I regret it terribly because, and I'd like to know who people would like to have met if they could. Let me see if we have any answers on that because Doris Day, Tony Curtis, Natalie Wood, Richard Burton. Barb Kevin got to meet Richard Chamberlain. Ooh, he's still with us.
He was in the video here.
He was in the
He's
birthday
at
party?
the party.
Aw. Frank said Jane Mansfield, Nikki Luongo, Anne Bancroft. Oh, Diane Vogt, Laurence Olivier. Good one. Betty Davis, Kathleen Anderson. Natalie Wood for Heather Tanchuk. Francine Lobner, Debbie, Marilyn, Judy, Janie. Let's see. Betty White for Lane Semper. You know, Amy Perkins would love to have met Debbie. Richard Burton, that's a good one. You know, I got a message from Cassandra, and I just wanted to tell you, Cassandra, that yes, we are definitely going to do that for you. And I can't think of anything.
Do what?
Anyone better. Cassandra is a beautiful, she looks like Marilyn Monroe, actually. I have to show Todd a picture of you, Cassandra. And she's doing this kind of documentary, you know, about Marilyn and talking to people and things. And so I know I'm ruining this because I just saw this very quick text that I got from Ryan before we went on. So I may be half wrong about this, but my heart is in the right place. Anyway, she wanted to know if we would make a video for it. And I think, I know, your mom, I used to sit at her feet. Literally, she would be in bed when we'd go to her house. And if you weren't with me, I would sit on my feet at her bedside, not in a chair, on the floor. And I would say, tell me about... Did you ever meet Marilyn Monroe? I remember, so it was really fun for her to tell me all the stories about these people that I was so curious about, and knowing that she would know most of them, she would know or would have met and could tell me what they were really like or what was going on in Hollywood at the time. And I loved doing that with Mom because she was super open to talk about that. It was interesting, for her.
Well, she knew them all.
Yeah.
And speaking of a person that knew them all, you know the old expression, only your hairdresser knows for sure or something. Wasn't there some
yeah,
joke?
it used to be that. Mm-hmm.
That
It's
was
still
what-
true.
Still true.
You
So
tell your hairdresser stuff you wouldn't even tell your psychiatrist.
the most famous hairdresser of all time was Sidney Gilleroff.
Right.
He wrote a book called Crowning Glory.
Well, if you look at the end of every credit on the classic film, Sidney Gilleroff's name
no,
is
in the
usually
beginning of
there.
the movie.
In the yeah.
Bill Tuttle, a lot of times.
They got billed in the beginning.
Oh, up front for him.
Oh, wow.
He ran the department. He was the hair department at MGM.
Right.
So I have an interview. He was at the party, and he was getting up there, of course. But it's interesting to him to hear what he has to say about my mother.
He did your mom's hair for every movie I think she ever did.
And my mother, yeah, I mean, she started at MGM with him being the master hair guy. So, that's how it went. So check out Mr. Sidney.
Sydney, please tell us about the first time that you did Debbie.
Well, I'm no Lillian Sidney, and I'm not Ruta Lee either, but by golly, I'll do my very best. The first time I met Debbie, she came in to be tested for a film called Singing in the Rain, was it, Debbie? That was fun. Well, whatever, it was a very important film. It was an Arthur Freed show, wasn't it? Wasn't that Singing in the Rain?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I don't. God, you all got such terrific memories, I can't. Anyway, Arthur gave me an idea of the way he wanted this little gal to look, and I found her enchanting and a little sort of independent, and no airs, mind you, no airs, none at all. But she had an idea about how she ought to look. And we didn't agree, and I said, well, I have to please you, and I have to please the producer, and I have to please the director. And when you see the rushes tomorrow on your test, that'll be the decisive factor. But she still didn't like it. And we got into words. And she said to me, I want to talk to you. I said, well, here I am. She said, no, I want to talk to you in private. Let's go into one of those booths there. So we got in the booth, and there was an old-fashioned barber chair there. And I'm standing normally on the floor, and I'm towering over her. And in order to elevate herself, she stepped on the step of this old-fashioned barber chair just to raise herself up. She says, I don't know who you think you are, just because you've done Garbo, Shearer, Crawford, and all of Marlene and Dietrich. She said, something's wrong with you. You think a hell of a lot of yourself, don't you? I said, well, I think I've earned it. She said, well, I'll earn it too, because one day I'll be a big star. By golly, I never had anybody take me down the way she did. But she was right every inch of the way, and she became not only a star, but the greatest friend I've ever had. The most loyal human being I've ever come across.
Thank you.
Choked himself up.
And she was young, right? I mean, your mom was
very
just
young.
starting her career out at that time.
But she'd done a few things, so she, obviously had. It's hard for me to picture that, but you got to remember, he was there for everything.
Right, but I think the part that I don't want to be missed on this is that the thing she said was, wait, let me just make sure I quote him correctly. He said, because you've worked with Dietrich and Davis
Garbo
and Garbo and all these people, but she said, one day I'm going to be a big star, just like that. And that's what jumped out at me, because
Sure.
if you believe in yourself like that,
Well,
I mean, it's so. If I could give a gift to anybody and everybody in this world, it would be to believe in yourself, because what is the difference really between a young girl from Burbank and a person, if you believe in yourself, you will work to be great at whatever it is you choose to do, because you will love what you do and you are interested in what you do. You will excel at what you do. It's when people try to put us in a box or doing something that's not really as interesting to us. But she knew she was going to do that, and she made a statement to him that she was going to do that, therefore putting it out there.
Well, and telling somebody well above her station.
Yeah.
And really what he was saying, she's just saying, look, I've made up my mind, this is where I'm headed. At that point, you got to remember, this is a couple of movies in. She's,
Yes.
she's not this is not early on where she's not sure she wants to do this.
Yeah.
She's definitely now
She's
said,
committed.
I'm going for it.
Mhm.
And once, our family, you've committed to painting the fence.
Mhm.
You're gonna paint the fence, even if Sidney Gilleroff gets in your way. I mean, he was, as he said, he was towering over her. He was a tall. By the way, can you tell how classy he is?
Oh yes. Oh yes. And
The
you
guy
know what?
wore-
I always wondered what he looked like.
Oh, he was class. He was very soft spoken, had a little rasp in his voice, but he was a very, very eloquent, very beautiful, wonderful man. I mean, this guy loved my mother. I don't know why, but they were great friends to the end. And as he choked himself up by saying how loyal she was.
Yeah.
And you know why he said that?
Why?
A crazy ass story. My mother, by this point, the movie industry is down the tubes. TV is what's happening. My mother is doing, I forgot the show. I'm just for fun, let's say it was like The Love Boat or something, or some TV show. And my mother says, well, I want Sidney Gilleroff to do my hair. And they, well, we can't have him. He's not in the TV union.
There was a different union?
There was a different union. He could not do her hair.
Oh.
My mother was like, excuse me? Do you know who this person is? And she wrote the head of she rolled down the house on these folks. And immediately he was brought into the union, was given recognition. He would never have blown his own whistle. But she went in there and said who he was and what he was all about and how important he was to the industry. And by God, you better give him respect. And they did. And that's what that's why he choked himself up.
Right. There's another thing. Hey, Lisa Eaton, I see that you're here, and I'm super happy to see you here for one, and I saw what you said. And yay, that's all I have to say is that's you just blessed my day. I'm happy you're here, and and what you just said. So I just think that finding people that are loyal, that is rare as hen's teeth. I mean, they really that's what choked him up is the best part of your mom, which was her incredible loyalty. If she had a friend that needed help, or she could count. You could count on her to drop your name to wherever it needed to be dropped, or she was very loyal that way.
Well, you know how the song goes, right?
What's the song?
The Molly Brown song. He's my friend, and he'll stay my friend. You remember that song?
I don't. I need to watch that movie again.
Oh, the greatest song ever. He's my friend, and he'll stay my friend, even though the bitter end's a million years away. The song. It's all about sticking up for your friends.
I love
Molly Brown.
Yeah, I love that movie, but I've only seen it I think twice, and so I don't know the music from that as well as I do, say, Singing in the Rain or some of her others.
Well, that movie, Meredith Willson, in my opinion, is as good as any.
Yeah.
I'm up there with Berlin. I mean, the lyrics are unbelievable. And so there was, I'll Never Say No to You. That goes up on the list, doesn't it?
It does. Seth Robichaux said, you can tell Debbie loved the people around her.
Oh, yeah. That crew is, those were definitely her people in that room.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'll never forget, and I'll never forget I'm trying to read what people are saying, and sometimes it's hard for me to keep it going. I'll never forget Carrie's last birthday party that your mom absolutely, here's the weird thing. I don't ever remember your mom taking charge of Carrie's birthday like that before.
Well, that's how she would have earlier, yeah.
I mean, earlier, yes, but not in later years. And she was absolutely adamant that she was going to have that birthday party for Carrie's 60th birthday, right? And Carrie didn't want the party. Do you remember? She didn't want the party.
I have the recording.
She was in England. She was filming. She was going on a little vacation and then going back to England to promote her book. And she just didn't want to have this party. But your mom plowed through and said, we're having the party, and she was on the phone and she was inviting people, and I remember that I didn't think I didn't think the party was going to happen because Carrie really didn't want it. But thank God that she did, that your mom did do that, because that's the last time we ever saw Carrie, was at that party.
Mm-hmm.
And the strange thing is that it was her last birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And 200 people were at that party from all over the world. I mean, if a bomb had dropped on that party, Hollywood would be over. And so that party was fantastic. But what was great about it was that Debbie, who was doing okay, not great, because she had the stroke that nobody knew about some months before, and she sat in the doorway, and so she was in a chair. She never moved. She parked herself in a chair in Carrie's living room, and seeing all those big stars get down on their knees to pay homage to her and reverence to her, because they were just, and she was just in heaven, your mom, because she didn't have to move. She didn't have to go anywhere, and everybody wanted to talk to her. And so for both those reasons, I'm really glad that your mom also had pushed that party through. I also think your mom might have known something. She didn't know what. To
Well,
be
that wouldn't
so
surprise me.
strong on that, But I'm glad, because that was the last time we saw her.
She was big on following her intuition.
Yes.
You talk about this a lot, people following their gut.
Intuition is everything.
Yeah,
Absolutely
and
everything.
But she was really became very. She used to question some of her intuition in life, and then later realized that had she gone with her first instinct, most of the time it would have been better in the end. And
well, she had prophetic dreams, which I thought was just absolutely amazing. I don't even have those. I mean, like, she had dreams that when she'd say, I had a dream last night, and you, me, and
everybody
Carrie would go
tune in.
like,
Oh shit.
oh no. Because I don't remember any of them being like happy dreams. She always dreamt when something was going to happen to one of our pets, or, and she was always right. And she had a dream about Carrie, so that's why she didn't want her going to Belgium. Remember, she wanted her to come right home. And so, and that dream turned out to be prophetic. So she was quite a remarkable woman.
There's a line in the movie Lawrence of Arabia, and it reminds me a lot of my mother in certain ways. Certain things are going to happen, and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Right.
And so a lot of times when my mother would have these dreams and things, it was not something you could stop. Most of the time those things came to pass. So you were always like, uh-oh, what is this? What is she going to say next? But in the movie Lawrence of Arabia, they would say those words. They'd say it has been written. It's in the Muslim faith. Like, in other words, you can't unwrite this.
Yeah.
And then Lawrence used to fight against it, and he would say, no, nothing is written unless we write it. Now, I love that. I love that too. But in the end, the thing that they were talking about turned out to be a fait accompli, and truly he couldn't overwrite the fact that it had been written. And it's an interesting thing in life if you can tune into that. I felt like she was tuned into knowing certain things.
Well, it's frequency, I think. Energy is on a frequency. And I do think that some people that have a sixth sense, so to speak, like your mom most definitely had a sixth sense, they are on a frequency that it's like when you're looking for a station on the radio, and it's like, and then it's clear music.
She would say,
and I think that's what she was like with
She
that.
used to say to people all the time about this. She'd say, well, if you'd sit still long enough and listen, you might hear something.
Yeah.
I think she's talking. That's a pretty philosophical thing. People are yammering so much, whining and talking, and they're so loud. And she was really talking to Carrie a lot, because Carrie never shut down.
Yeah.
And she was just like, if you just get still and get quiet, you actually might hear something.
Right. Well, your mom was an absolutely remarkable human being, a one of a kind, a tremendous legend, and I'm so happy that we got to celebrate her today. You know, and she's been with Dwight now for about 4 days.
I could picture that party.
5 days, maybe. Yes. So we know that they're together and that they're happy.
Well, Dwight is sitting on her pillow right now. He's like,
And I'll tell you another thing. He's sitting on her pillow, and she has 5 or 6 small plates in front of him. One has chicken, one has beef, one has dog food, one has
well,
dry
filet
food.
mignon, that was the big thing. She would send Mary down to Gelson's to get filet mignon
For Dwight?
for Dwight.
Okay, that's what I remember about walking into her room and him on her pillow with his paws crossed like this, and all these plates in front of him because he was so hard to
not
feed.
dog plates. Let's visualize
they
this
were-
correctly.
they were-
These
yeah.
are gold gilded china with gold gilded edges, not very big, with little samples of each thing as if you were at a food tasting.
I know, and it was because Dwight was a very finicky eater.
Well, it was partly because they did it. I mean, the dog was, when he lived with us, he was far less finicky, although he still
When
was
he lived
finicky.
with Uncle Bill, he lived with
dog
Uncle
food.
Bill for a year after Debbie
and
passed.
ate dog food. That's not exactly true though. He didn't eat dog food because I had if you remember, we had Donald bringing food over.
Well, I'm going to do a shameless plug for the Farmer's Dog, which is a dog food company that I tried because I saw the commercials and they were compelling. So the Farmer's Dog I bought, and Dwight, it was the first time we saw him get all excited about food again. And so I gave Dwight's food to Aspen's mom, Brooke. She took it home because you have 2 dogs, right, Aspen? 3 dogs. But Oreo is the oldest dog, and she said that Oreo would talk English for this Farmer's Dog food that we gave her. So it's good stuff. If you have a dog that's finicky, it's also really healthy for you. I have no affiliation with them. I
actually noticed some health changes from that. I think it helped his digestive tract a lot.
Yes.
I don't think it's good for him to have eaten the way he ate, truthfully, because he never got a lot of the right kinds of food.
Right. People think they're loving their pets when they give them human food. Chickens eat human food because we have what's called a chicken bucket here. So when we don't finish our food, instead of the food going to waste, we put it in the chicken bucket, and then the chickens like it. People say chickens will eat anything, but I don't find that that's true. My chickens don't eat just anything. I mean, they're yours do?
Chickens.
They eat anything?
They'll eat anything.
Yeah.
It's just that yours are used to getting better food than most humans.
I do. Every time I make a salad for the chickens and I'm on my way out to the coop, Todd's like this.
Could I have a little?
Could
of
I
that?
have a salad?
And they eat my favorite foods too. They eat corn off the cob and all my favorite foods, and I don't get any of it.
Who cooks 7 days a week for you?
Oh no, you deliver.
I do.
You deliver great stuff. Today's menu
Stellar
was
breakfast.
fantastic.
Yes, I got up and I was very motivated to make you a great breakfast.
I just couldn't chew anything. I had a root canal.
Yeah, that was another part of this week that you had a nasty root
Well,
canal.
3 things happened
Yeah.
in a row. So with Dwight, that was happening in the middle of Dwight being really ill in this emergency. I picked him up really badly and threw my back out again. So I still have not even healed my back. So I'm having back problems. In the middle of that,
Yeah, but we both are, so at
my
least
tooth
we have
gets
that.
into a toothache, and we get the bad news of losing Dwight, and all of that was one hell of a week.
Yeah, it was a week, I mean, yes, Bill Tuscalis, try the Farmer's Dog. I'm telling you that if your dog has a sensitive stomach, it's really good.
Really good.
Really good for that. But anyway, we're going to give away things before we go.
Now, how are you going to do that? Because you don't have your wheel.
Because Ryan has the randomizer,
Okay,
and
so he
he's
can
going
just say
he's
who
going to
won.
text the winners to me, the wieners.
Wonderful.
And I am just, there's something about this Sunday afternoon that I really like about,
Well, you have
it.
to ask the people if they like it better.
It's more important if you like it. Do you like Saturday night better or Sunday afternoon? Because we're going to, shore up the schedule. So let us know what you think about that. And so right now, Ryan, I know you're not online with us, but you are watching. So if you could please send me the winners on the randomizer. I am going to go to my texts, and here we go. We are going to do wiener number 1 is Nikki Grandchamp. Nikki Grandchamp, and you are the winner for a $25 gift certificate for catcosmetics.com, donated by catcosmetics.com. Congratulations. Please write me at info@catcosmetics.com and let me know that you are here and that you are watching. You are still here because I saw you in here just a little while ago. And your address. No, your email address I need, because we will send that a link to you for it. So great. Congratulations to Nikki Grandchamp. You are the first wiener. Number 2, Lisa O'Grady. Lisa O'Grady, you have won a signed book of Todd's, My Girls, signed to you or whoever you would like it to have it signed to, Lisa. And that I am going to need your address for. And I don't have a copy of it, but I will tell you who donated it.
Not me.
Tracy Valine. Yes, Tracy Valine, one of our girls here. She is fantastic. Tracy from Scottsdale. You donated Todd's book, a signed copy of My Girls, and Lisa O'Grady, you are the wiener of that book. So write me at info@catcosmetics.com. Let me know that you were here, and also your address. That would be great. Okay, number 3, Linda Serber. Linda Serber, congratulations. You have won a $25 gift certificate to catcosmetics.com. That's catcosmetics.com. Remember also to plug in We Care, WECARE. We Care, all one word, for 20% off of your purchases. So that is going on right now. Go ahead and send me a note at info@catcosmetics.com, Linda, and your email address, and we will send you your gift certificate. Number 4, Carol Moore. Carol Moore, you are the wiener of number 4. You also have won a $25 gift certificate to catcosmetics.com. Make sure you write me and let me know that you are still here. Claim your prize, and I need your email address, which I will have when you write me. There you go. Congratulations to you. Number 5, waiting, Geraldine Coviello. Geraldine Coviello, you have won a $25 gift certificate to catcosmetics.com. And I know you know what to do. Write me and let me know that you're still here, and I will have your email address then. Number 6. Number 6 coming through. I see the dots. Tab Jones. Tab Jones, congratulations. You have won a $25 gift certificate from catcosmetics.com. And so please go ahead and let me know by writing me at info@catcosmetics.com. Let me know your email address so we can send that out to you. All right, number 7. Sue Solo. Sue Solo, you are the wiener for the number 7, which is a $25 gift certificate also from catcosmetics.com. So make sure you write and let me know that you were here. You are claiming your prize, and I will make sure that that is sent to you. And for the last one, number 8, waiting for, thank you, Ryan, Paula Mickle. Paula Mickle, you are the wiener. You have won the new brush, the new foundation and new cream color brush. You have won that from catcosmetics.com. And I know that you are here because I see you there. So we will send that out to you because I have your address. So Paula Mickle, congratulations. You have won the Miracle Working Foundation brush. And I don't have anything in here with me, so I wish I could show it to you, but I think you already know what it looks like. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us today. It was just a really nice, mellow day. And after the week that we've been through, we really enjoyed spending it with you. And now it's time to just
I have
get on with it.
I have a little of her cutting the birthday cake to run in the background on the way out.
You know, we're going to play Dwight again on the way out, so let's
We'll do
watch that.
both.
I want to see that. Yes.
okay.
So you can all say goodbye to each other. And we love you so much. Thank you.
Watch this footage. It's very interesting.
Okay, cut the cake. Cut the cake. What do we do? Okay, start up here. How we do it? Take these out. Oh, the smell from the candles. All right. Let her rip there. Just like a wedding.
I hope not.
Hopefully happier ending.
I hope so.
They all blew out quicker than they were supposed to. They were supposed to keep lighting and lighting and lighting. Well, I've got 2 burned fingers, that's why. Okay. All right. Do we have to cut it or somebody else going to cut it?
No.
Sharon Amorosa. I want to say hi to you and Joe. And also I want to say, Sharon, thank you for the necklace that I'm wearing. I just got it. I think that you sent it a long time ago, but a bunch of my mail was missing, and I got 8 or 9 packages, and this necklace was in one of them. And so if you liked my necklace tonight, thank you, Sharon Amorosa. I really appreciate Sharon and Joe. Thank you both so much. And now we're going to take you out with Dwight.
I didn't quite realize how
I
many
turned my
places
mic
I
off.
Go get him.